Hello, this is Michael West, and
This is Reem Mercier.
we have something very special to show you today, and I can't wait to hear about what you have to think about it. What we're sharing is a scrying channeling done about a week ago. Was it a week?
Yeah, it was on Easter.
It was on Easter, and what were we initially trying to...
We were trying to find anything Easter related. Bunnies,
Esther,
giants, Esther.
Ishtar, Ostara, anything that. It's not exactly what came through.
No. No, it was very alien too.
Very alien. If you're into the Anunnaki, Archons, world ships, what's the planet called? Nibiru? Nibiru?
Yeah.
Nibiru. Now, I'm very excited to show you this to you. And before we go any deeper, I want to thank my darling wife, Reem, for all her incredible work behind the scenes for my channel. She does all the editing. I don't know anything about this stuff. I couldn't do without you. Aww. One thing I also want to say before we go into this, what I channel when I get into this state doesn't necessarily reflect what either me or Reem believe.
Yeah, we try to be as objective as possible when going into this. Just kind of an outsider's perspective into what's going on and then letting that speak for itself.
Please like our channel, subscribe, like the video, and be ready for more content coming up soon. And if you don't want to sit through for the coming commentary, you can skip ahead. It should be listed, time-stamped right below. Add some comments. We have our own thoughts on this, but we would love to hear yours.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
If anybody has any clue what this is
The names
referring
that came
to,
through.
or the visions, because it didn't really, but you'll have a full version of what we're about to witness listed right after this video, so you can actually see the whole thing and hopefully fill us in and where we went missing.
Be a part of the team.
Yeah.
And a part of the family. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Maybe you can see something in the smoke we didn't catch. See if we can see exactly where I zonked out.
Looks like it lags on the TV for some reason.
You see a cave. We have the voice.
The further you go, the warmer it gets. There are forests. On the steps as you go down, it's almost like a giant staircase. Each step is covered in forest trees. There's water. It reminds me of the gardens of Babylon.
I've always loved the stories about the famous stepped gardens of Babylon. How they bring water I'm not the ancient alien guy, never haven't even watched much of the show. But I always found it like, how could men create artificial oases out in the middle of nowhere, and of a sort that couldn't be seen in the greatest where water was more prone to be.
They were definitely very advanced for their time.
Very advanced.
I go down. I'm floating. I feel like I'm a spirit, and I'm floating down. Not along the stairway, but just in the middle. There's nothing below my feet. Just darkness, but it does feel like there's a light coming out of the bottom.
Looks like we're just going to have sound for you this time.
I don't have them. I'm wearing goggles of some sort. They're large, maybe even metal. I'm on an elevator, I think. I'm on an elevator. It's not that I'm floating. I'm not a ghost. I'm like half robotic.
You had some interesting thoughts on the goggles earlier today.
Well, in some alien abduction cases, people report that the aliens didn't really have eyes, but goggles that were shaped like eyes. So that was kind of a link there.
And if you're thinking we're jumping to aliens, we've seen them video a few times, and believe me, it's going to get a lot more sci-fi as we start rolling in. We're not just jumping. I'm more of a witchy background than this UFO not stuff.
Kind of the opposite, so.
It's
That's Reem's territory.
a thick, misty fog that's encroaching even into the cave, the cavern. It's just going straight down. I call it a cave, but it's like a hole in the earth, a giant hole. It just keeps going down far enough that.
Does this bring anything to your attention, the caves?
It's not ringing any bells, but does it for you?
Other than what we've been studying the past week or so about the cavern, again, if it rings a bell for any of you, we're in this together. I do believe there is something to this, and that is why we're sharing it.
Light grows dim. There is light from other places. Strange yellow fires. Dawn on each step. Going in multiple directions, each way. There are other people on the elevator with me, watching. They're wearing coats, silvers and golds. It's as if they reflect the rainbow.
I love the imagery.
Yeah.
Their eyes are gone as well, just goggles.
Most of it.
It's like they're attached. Wearing hats. But I don't think they have hair. They look human. But Not quite.
Do they remind you of any particular
Almost
alien
ape-like.
species?
How's it?
But
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting is you mentioned they're wearing suits. In some of the abduction cases I was looking at, the aliens were not just wearing goggles but also suits. In fact, you wouldn't really guess that they were wearing suits or that they were wearing goggles. You'd think this was their eyes, but when you got a little closer or you saw a little bit more, you got to see that they were suits and goggles.
And, you know, much like the goggles, it almost seemed like all this was built into them. And it was more a bit of knowing while I was in this state. So, yeah. Very android-like.
intelligent, but communicating. Not with words. Walking down. No noises from the other side of the tunnel.
So you didn't answer my question. Is it Nibiru or Nibiru?
Grass.
Doesn't make a difference. I've heard it pronounced both ways. So.
Let me know.
Like the sound of running. All like footfalls. Underneath me is glass. More forests.
I remember watching. Oh, yes?
Seems to be a blend of the organic and the inorganic, kind of a robotic
Yeah,
organic
it was.
hybrid mix thing.
Everything felt grown, even the metals. It was very raw, like you'd see in the metals. Or if you ever been to the museum and you see these meteor iron and how they have that natural swirl to them, everything had that feel about it. And then you had, of course, the trees that almost seemed a part of this. As you'll find, it seems to be a ship. I think it says it is a ship. Very big ship. So yeah, I remember this part. I mean, I think this is the first time I felt my lungs fill with air, like, oh, wow. And I was so high up. And now I'm underground. And I'm walking around a hallway out here. And if you've ever been to the park and going up into the trees, and the tree walks, I could see forests underneath my feet. And it was just such rich and green, and I was pretty high above the trees. So, yeah, onward.
Bright. Like a garden, like a greenhouse garden. I can see under the floor. Not falling through the glass, it's reinforced. More of that shimmering metal. Shimmers with colors. Walking. Different rooms.
It was great because they can skip ahead to actually see the video.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a face mask. It feels similar to the goggles.
This part really creeped me out. I remember being very, almost disgusted. And did I touched my face, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Breathing is clear.
It scared me.
No
Because it felt for a moment like it was mine. And I had no.
Maybe pause it.
Yeah.
You said it was strange that you have a mouth. You don't have a mouth, but you keep growing.
Oh, yeah.
In one abduction case I read, the man described sort of feeding tubes on this strange planet where they've kind of evolved past regular consumption of food and they just plug in these feeding tubes and that's how they consume. So
As we got to know them further, and as you'll get to know them further, I wouldn't put it past them.
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Thank you.
rising.
Well, this part I felt like I was pushing myself up from this
You're
individual.
not the only ones down there. There are things crawling in the caverns. They look human, but they're not.
Can you ask what this place is called?
Primordia.
That's a video game.
Not one I played.
So research
I'm
that.
curious though.
Should look it up.
They grow things.
Grow things. Now I'm guessing this is just one thing on this ship.
Mhm.
Primordia.
The sun is out,
The other
but
one.
it's cold. There's volcanic activity in the distance. The rivers of lava, forests, encroaching. There's ice not far away. It's like a strange mix of Arctic, desert, and tundra. It's like they're all meeting right by the Primordia. I can see the ocean maybe a few miles off. It's very hilly and rocky. That's where the lava's coming from.
Is this place on Earth?
There is no moon here. It's much larger.
Beautiful landscapes. I wish I could show you.
Underneath the earth, there's more machinery. It stretches so far
Yeah.
down in every direction.
We'll let our friends know. We're having a little trouble with the TV, so we're switching for the rest over to our good old speaker. Here we go. It almost feels like everything's artificial. Almost feels like the planet itself is made.
Can you find out what the planet is called?
Asphygia. F's. No idea. Yeah. Any of you have any idea what that is?
Please tell us.
Please. We tried.
Yeah. It's hard to pronounce, but the syllables are there. There's many syllables.
Definitely felt more
But it's
important
said
than
very
primordia.
quickly.
Yeah.
They're very strict on getting it right.
See? Very strict. Very important.
Don't butcher the name of our planets.
Hands. It's more like claws.
And they don't have hands.
So metal.
They're like,
But there's bone.
but it felt like they was like metallic to help them, give them strength or something, and like an exoskeleton actually around the hands.
They built this place.
So fascinating.
Their writing is in eyes. It's almost cuneiform.
Sumerian.
It's
Simpler.
interesting that you mentioned cuneiform and Babylon at the beginning of the videos.
Yeah.
This planet.
Owners.
So I asked who kind of is the ruler there, and it
They
said
own
owners.
Owners.
They built it.
They built it, they own it. Okay, then. This is where I really think it starts getting good. Well, you said you think they might be Archons.
They're builders. Creators. They built.
Does this planet exist within our world tree?
If it wants to.
It's an interesting answer if it wants to.
Yeah.
I guess because it's a ship, it just moves around. I didn't think it was easier to move in and out of this world tree thing, but...
And for some of our listeners, the world tree is this idea. It's found throughout a lot of cultures, but one you're probably most going to find is Norse mythology. You've got the realm of the giants, the realms of fire and ice, elves, dwarves, Midgard, us, the place of the Aesir, the Norse gods, all the way up, and it's layered like a tree with the top with an
It has an eagle at the top. It has a
dragon at the bottom.
Yep.
And this weird rodent
who spreads misinformation between the upper realms and the lower realms, and it also has the 3 fates and 2 wells. It's a pretty fascinating tree.
But it's got 9 realms to it that make up the tree. Mm-hmm. Gotta love Norse mythology.
I do.
So yeah, it says if it wants to be. So does it mean it can travel? Is the world tree planets? Is it dimensions?
I know some people like to think of the dimensions as planets also, but I guess it doesn't really fit from my view, but some people believe it fits, that the planets are the 9 dimensions. 9 planets that kind of fit into that, but who knows?
Whichever way, dimensions, planets. This thing seems to be able to go in or completely out of the tree. Now that's also fascinating. It's saying that it can choose not to be part of the world tree.
Yeah.
Which would be the whole cosmos.
I mean, it's hard enough for even someone like Odin to travel within the 9 realms, to go to certain places within the 9 realms, like Mimir's Well, because he'd have to cross with the giants. So the fact that they can just enter the tree, go out of the tree, at least
What is
according
out
to
of
their
the tree?
What's out of the tree?
It's fascinating.
I think it's a ship.
Yeah.
The planet is a ship. A
Death
giant
Star
ship.
1. Sorry. You gotta have fun.
Yeah.
Always.
It's a giant carrier formed like a planet.
What's its purpose?
Home and a station. It's a carrier. It's everything to them. But it's one of a few. Well, the others haven't been heard from in some time.
That's very interesting.
It's an ecosystem. Perfect machine.
One thing that you'll find, especially moving forward, is it felt like at this point I was under their rules. I felt almost pressured to say things like I was. No, that's their rules against their rules.
It seems rules are very important to them.
I think they consider themselves indestructible. So the idea that one of these other ships is gone, just they can't. No, we just haven't heard it. We
haven't heard it.
We haven't heard
We
from
lost
them
the
in a
connection.
million years. We'll hear from them again.
It's definitely possible.
I definitely got that feeling of there was just a subtlety of fear underneath it, underneath that hubris.
I could feel it just listening to it.
Yeah. What did the genie say in the movie? Everything is good, happy. I love it. Yeah.
Do they worship anything? Do they have any theology?
I have some kind of code.
I'm just gonna.
I'll just leave it be.
There will be the full video, unedited. You get everything right after this. So I hope you're sticking with. We enjoy having you.
Many books. Many books. Knowledge.
This is where they come off very archaic.
Lawn.
Archonic.
Order. Guiding principles. Science. Purest science.
Whatever that means.
It's almost Tao-like, but structured, like they think they figured it out perfectly. If you figure it out perfectly enough, you never die. Just needs to be enforced. They create, sowing plants, life, charity, law.
Do they ever visit her?
They did.
Very Anunnaki.
They come, they go.
Too.
We're not the only one. I don't feel like they created us, but they worked with us. They planted seeds. order. It's something they just do. It's part of the law.
Us. It seems like law and order is very important to them. In fact, it seems like everything over there is centered around a code, a law.
Mm-hmm. And that they know what's right.
Yeah. Well.
Very police statey.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could feel the doubt in some of them, but they would never voice it.
Mm-hmm.
They have their place.
The law needs to be obeyed.
Why?
It preserves.
Well, it seems that their survival, or at least they believe that their survival hinges upon the law, so whatever.
It goes into that in a bit.
Yeah.
Unless we skipped over that. I hope not.
No.
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
If monitored carefully. No son will die. I think they lost something very precious a very long time ago.
What do you think it is?
I think they lost their son.
Very protect
And
the
balance.
environment.
Well, it said that they lost their son. That would make you want to preserve whatever's left of your organic material.
Yeah.
Their son called.
I get visions of a tiger or a lion. It was from a long time ago. They destroyed it.
Why?
Mining. They mined it.
Isn't that what the
That cost
Anunnaki
them
did?
everything.
Don't worry.
Well, with the Anunnaki, what happened, at least according to Sitchin's translations, is they came here to mine for gold because the gold in their atmosphere was their atmosphere basically became uninhabitable because I don't know if they mined all the gold there already or what exactly happened, but they ran out, and that's why they had to go to other planets to mine for that gold. And you said they almost lost their lives and their souls. One thing
I feel like they did lose their souls.
One thing that's interesting about the Archons is that they have souls, but they have no spirit. So,
Oh, we only have a few minutes left on
Okay.
this phone, and I feel like I know that I want to talk more about this. Like, well, yeah, we restricted.
Swallow everything.
Yeah, we have just enough. Just talk over it. We'll have more data next time.
Too late. Damage had already been done. Many suns were destroyed.
Oh, it gives me the sense that they were mining whatever
They should have known.
way of mining
I
had
thought-
already damaged all the suns they were mining. So by the time the first one blew up, the others were already primed, and they could do nothing about it. And it seems like they took out the solar systems of pretty much their entire empire. Yeah.
Anything else about here before we come back?
The winged creatures are beautiful.
I remember that.
Like dragons.
The Asian kind of with the long tails.
I create them just to be beautiful. I think they found them here.
So I guess there were once dragons here.
I believe it.
Or maybe they took some dinosaurs and made them.
No, dragons exist.
Well, I would say we got quite a bit.
Yeah. I'd
Every
say so.
time I do this, I'm so hazy afterwards. Sometimes I remember. In this case, most of it I didn't really remember. I at least didn't. It wasn't coherent until I watched it. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
hope to do this again. And if you have any questions specifically for either me
Or information
or information
on what we were just witnessing, I would really appreciate, because I'm very, very curious. Yeah.
leave a comment below or use the email address we provided, and I will get back to you as soon as I am able. Best fortunes always. You see a cave. The further you go, the warmer it gets. There are forests. On steps as you go down. It's almost like a giant staircase. Each step is covered in forest trees. There's water. It reminds me of the gardens of Babylon. I go down. I'm floating. I feel like I'm a spirit, and I'm floating down. Not along the stairway, but just in the middle. There's nothing below my feet, just darkness, but it does feel like there's a light coming out of the bottom. My eyes, I don't have them. I'm wearing goggles of some sort. They're large, maybe even metal. I'm on an elevator, I think. I'm on an elevator. It's not that I'm floating. I'm not a ghost. I'm like half robotic. I'm on an elevator going down into this garden underneath. Looking up, it's giant birds. The sky it's like there's no sky. There's a mist towards where the light above comes from. It's a thick misty fog that's encroaching even into the cave, the cavern. It's just going straight down. I call it a cave, but it's like a hole in the earth, a giant hole. It just keeps going down far enough that light grows dim. There is light from other places. Strange yellow fires. Dawn on each step, going in multiple directions each way. There are other people on the elevator with me, watching. They're wearing coats, silvers and golds. It's as if they reflect the rainbow. Their eyes are gone as well, just goggles. It's like they're attached. Wearing hats. But I don't think they have hair. They look human, but not quite. It's almost ape-like, but fully erect, intelligent. They're communicating. Not with words. Walking down. There are noises from the other side of the tunnel. Like rats, but like the sound of running. Or like footfalls. Underneath me is glass. More forests. It's bright. It's like a garden, like a greenhouse garden. I can see under the floor, not falling through the glass. It's reinforced. More of that shimmering metal. It shimmers with colors. I'm walking. Different rooms. I'm wearing a face mask. It feels similar to the goggles. Breathing is clear. There's no pain. But if I have no mouth, why am I growing? I don't think it comes off. I'm rising. They aren't the only ones down there. There are things crawling in the caverns. They look human, but they're not.
Can you ask what this place is called?
Primordia. It's a research center. They grow things. I learned to grow things. The sun is out, but it's cold. There's volcanic activity in the distance. The rivers of lava. Forests. Encroaching. There's ice not far away. It's like a strange mix of Arctic desert and tundra. It's like they're all meeting right by the Primordia. I can see the ocean maybe a few miles off. It's very hilly and rocky. It's where the lava's coming from.
Is this place on Earth?
There is no moon here. It's much larger. Underneath the earth, there's more machinery. It stretches so far down in every direction. It almost feels like everything's artificial. It almost feels like the planet itself is made.
Can you find out what the planet is called?
Asphygia. Sia. It's hard to pronounce. Aphasia. It's hard to pronounce, but the syllables are there. There's many syllables. But it's said very, very quickly. They're very strict on getting it right. They don't have hands. It's more like claws. Also metal. But there's bone in there. They built this place. Their writing is in eyes. It's almost cuneiform. Simpler though. Incorporating circles.
Who are the rulers of this planet?
Owners. They own the planet. They built it. They own it. They're builders, creators. They build.
Does this planet exist within our world tree?
If it wants to. I think it's a ship. The planet is a ship. A giant ship. It's a giant carrier formed like a planet.
What's its purpose?
Home and a station. It's a carrier. It's everything to them. But it's one of a few. Well, the others haven't been heard from in some time. It's an ecosystem, the perfect machine, like them. They seem peaceful.
Do they worship anything? Do they have any theology?
They have some kind of code. Balance. Many books. Many books. Knowledge. Law. Order. Guiding principles. Science. Purest science. It's almost Tao-like, but structured like they think they figured it out perfectly. If you figure it out perfectly enough, you never die. It just needs to be enforced. They create sowing planets, life, charity, law.
Do they ever visit Earth?
They did. They come and they go. We're not the only one. I don't feel like they created us, but they've worked with us. They planted seeds.
What were they hoping to gain out of these seeds?
Order. It's something they just do. It's part of the law. The law needs to be obeyed.
Why?
It preserves. If monitored carefully. No son will die. I think they lost something very precious a very long time ago.
What do you think it is?
I think they lost their son. Imbalance.
What's their son called?
I get visions of a tiger or a lion. It was from a long time ago. They destroyed it.
Why?
Mining. They mined it, and it cost them everything. Nearly their race. Nearly their souls. And black hole. Something ate, swallowed everything. There were many. It was too late. Damage had already been done. Many sons were destroyed. They should have known. I thought they could control. Now they protect.
Anything else about here before you come back?
The winged creatures are beautiful. Like dragons. I create them just to be beautiful. I think they found them here.